Hello, beautiful people. I am super excited to do this video today, and I apologize, guys, that I didn't post it a few days ago when I got the package, but as many of you know, I've been battling with my third round of COVID. I'm on I'm towards the tail end of that. I've survived it again, so appreciate all the thoughts and prayers. But right about the time that I came down with COVID, I received a package from my good friend and somewhat of a celebrity in the knife YouTube world, I guess you could say, especially amongst us that like bladed badassery, and that is Mr. Sawtooth Dave. Guys, if you haven't checked out Sawtooth Dave's channel, I would highly recommend it. If you like badass knives that are probably more than you need, they're definitely overbuilt, you probably can't whip it out in an office setting, that's the place to go. I reached out to Dave, asked him if I could, he had anything cool I could borrow to review, and man, did he overperformed on this one. Guys, what you're looking at, is the Trouble Blades MOFO 911. To say that this is a large knife is an extreme understatement. This is a huge knife. We're going to put something up here to compare it to so that you guys can kind of get a feel for how big this thing is. There's my Spyderco Shaman. I'm going to leave the Shaman out here because there was something that I wanted to go over before I hear about it in the comments or I get questions. And that is the blade on this thing. This is a whole ass load of knife, man. But when you really look at the cutting edge that you get, it's maybe, I don't know, somewhere between 1/4 and 1/2 inch more than a Shaman. So, you know, a lot of its size is not actually in the blade or the cutting surface, is in the handle. Guys, I wear a 2X mechanics glove. I'll be perfectly honest, I don't feel the fingers of a 2X all the way, but my hands are so meaty and thick that I can't put on anything but a 2X. So with that being said, I want to show you the grip surface of this knife. If I choke all the way down, that's what I've got. Now, I want you to look at how much handle is left there, especially if you add the choil. And like I said, guys, I'm right on the end. I've got my pinky on this little flat surface here. I wrap around. Even if I choke up and I don't use that flat surface, you can see that it fills my hand perfect and leaves a lot. There's still a lot of real estate there, guys. This is a huge slab of a knife. This is not a inexpensive knife. This is not a AliExpress or a Chinese clone of something cool that you can buy for 50 bucks to make you feel better about yourself. This is a custom-made American knife. It does come with a crew wear blade with a HRC of 60. Apparently they test every blade that they heat treat. That's all right here on the certificate of authenticity. It says crew wear 60 tested. Handle material tie ×2, and guys, the work they put into these titanium handles is pretty incredible. It's actually so crisp and so clean that it has a G10 feel. I know that sounds crazy, but it doesn't feel as cold and blank and hard as most of your flat titanium scales do. I do have sensitive hands. This does create a lot of grip without being uncomfortable to me. I actually really like the feel of this knife. I really like the feel of this texturing. I don't know what it's called. It's not a dimpling because, as you can see, the dimples are actually oblonged. It's super cool. One thing I did notice about the knife and I don't think it matters, but I do think a larger external stop pin would have looked a little bit cooler. I don't know that it needs it, but they definitely could have got away with it on something this large. But you know, it does have just a standard bent metal pocket clip, which for a self-defense tactical knife, I don't care about that, and I'm glad it's not deep carry. I prefer a little bit of real estate to be able to grab the knife and pull it out of my pocket if need be. So, that's neither here nor there. It is fairly shallow under the clip, except for right at the swell, um, but it goes in and out of pocket just fine for me. It's not smooth under the clip where it makes contact, but it doesn't seem. I don't know if it's because it's right in the cutout for the lock bar. It doesn't give me a problem going in and out of my blue jeans. Um, it has a substantial uh, pommel on the end, very thick, heavy, solid. I apologize, guys. I don't know if that's steel or titanium. I don't. I don't. I don't get picky about things like that, but it does look cool and feels like it would be very effective. Um, you might ask yourself, what is a knife like this even for? Is this an EDC knife? Well, anything can be an EDC knife. It all depends on your situation, your personality, your surroundings. But yes, it very well could be an EDC knife. You could carry it every day. It'd do a fine job of, with all your cutting tasks. It would do a fine job in the last ditch emergency scenario that you had to defend your life. I wouldn't have an issue at all with trusting that to this knife. Um, but the main thing this does for me, um, it's just an artistic piece of testosterone. It's it's very tactical. It's very cool. It's a chunk of badassery, and I always appreciate that. Would I carry it every day? Probably not. I'm just being honest. However, uh, I do love putting this thing in my truck and taking it to my buddy's house, or if I'm meeting him somewhere, to let him get a feel for this thing, because very few of us are ever going to get to experience this knife. So I'm trying to kind of spread that love a little bit, and luckily for us, there's people in the community like Satu Dave who loans stuff like this so that we can experience it. Because I believe when I looked this knife up, it was well into the four digits. So not a super affordable knife. It would definitely have to be something you really want to take that dive and spend that kind of money. But man, I love it. I love having the opportunity to handle it, to carry it, to experience it, and it's a masterpiece of American engineering to me. Is it fidgety? No, no, it's not. Um, I can't flick it open. I two-hand open and shut it. It is very smooth. You guys know I don't give a shit about fidgety. I've never understood how that reckons into a cutting tool. Or, what difference that makes. Can I appreciate it? Sure, sure, I can appreciate that. But when you're sacrificing um, more important things like a quality heat treat, or a really good blade geometry, or U.S. manufacturing, just to achieve, hey, look how drop shutty my pocket knife is. It's never going to make sense to me. I'm never going to get it. If it's important to you, I understand that, man. Hats off to you. You know, if that's what you're chasing, um, this isn't your thing. I get it. This knife doesn't flick well. It doesn't fall shut. It is a little tight. However, it is very smooth. It's very well made. I've uh, I've not heard much about Trouble Blades. I'm going to look a little deeper into them, see what I can find out, see what other offerings they have. Um, you know, Smaller companies making smaller batches of knives like this are not making them for the Walmart blister pack shopper. They're not making them for the fidget spinner crowd. Um, Most of these guys are making these knives for people who may actually need one in a shit situation one day. And believe it or not, there are people out there. There It's about 1% of the population that that volunteer to put themselves in shit situations where they may need something like this. So I appreciate that there are companies out there making it. And I appreciate that there are people like Satu Dave out there giving us the opportunity to experience things like this. And most of all, I appreciate any amount of time you guys spend with me. That's all I got for you this week. Peace. Love y'all.